listening to it with a quickness because I know that if I were to put this book down for a day or two, I probably wouldn't want to return to it. I feel like a ball of love and affection for this book. For my realmathon friends who are looking for a little hinty poo about what is going on. Good morning, besties. Welcome to a weekly vlog. We are going to get ready together and talk about the TBR and the plans for this week. I really do not feel like doing my makeup this morning. It feels like it's been a really long time since I've done a weekly vlog of just like read with me. We're gonna stick to our roots as well and read a bunch of fantasy romance this week. This is also kind of a realmathon vlog because realmathon is going on. But what I realized is that I tried to start realmathon with one of the saddest books literally ever and a book that I just really wasn't into from the very beginning. It didn't grip me. I just finished reading Done and Dusted. It's my first book that I finished for March. So like, it's not the end of the world, but I wanted to be a better team leader and have finished a couple books by now. So what I'm thinking, because I was so obsessed with Done and Dusted, it was my first cowboy romance and I absolutely loved it. I need to be reading books that are fast-paced and have a romance that I will be absolutely gagged about, and then I can just read it as fast as humanly possible, you know what I mean? So the initial TBR that I'm starting off with is going to be finally Vows and Ruins by Helen Scher. I'm so stinking excited to read that book. I've been meaning to read it honestly since like December. Like, it's been so long and it's unexcusable. So we have that one, and then we also have Spark of the Everflame, which is our Who Did This To You book club pick for March, which I'm so excited about. It feels like forever since we've just screamed about fantasy romance together. And I know that I'm being delulu because I just did those vlogs for like the Crescent City series, but those are just a completely different vibe, you know what I mean? Like, Kindle Unlimited fantasy romance is what feeds our soul. I'm gonna finish doing my makeup. We are going to take Jameson for a WALK. I'm also trying to figure out if I would like an audiobook. I did really well with the audiobook for Done and Dusted, but it's also a contemporary romance, and those are like some of the easiest audiobooks to listen to. Fantasy romance audiobooks are such a hit or miss for me, but I do have a couple audiobooks actually that are fantasy romance. So I have Feather by Olivia Wildenstein. I have other audiobooks, but they're for like longer books. Like, I have the audiobook for the Hurricane Wars, and I don't know if I want to start that. So we'll see. If I end up starting an audiobook, I will absolutely let you know. I was just thinking about, like, you know, taking JMO for a walk and having an audiobook. It would be kind of nice. To give a super quick update because I'm having thoughts. First, let's do it on both books because I did start Vows and Ruins. Absolutely freaking loving it. I meant to say as well, I will not give spoilers because obviously Vows and Ruins is the second book in a series, the first being Blood and Steel. If you haven't read Blood and Steel yet, it is my mission in life to make everyone read Blood and Steel. It's so freaking good, and Slaying the Shadow Prince. So good. I was expecting more of like an established relationship between our two main characters, Thea and Wilder, because their romance does start in the first book, but something happened to where, I don't know if I want to call them enemies to lovers, but like, it's very like hate to love, and their relationship is still so angsty and tensiony, and they're like wicked pissed at each other, and it's so freaking fun. I am obsessed with it. Like, action right from the very beginning. I love Thea. I love her perspective. I can't wait. I don't even know what my updates are going to be for that book other than like just screaming about it from the top of my lungs. But then I did also start Feather by Olivia Wildenstein. Feather, I'm really not sure how I'm feeling about it so far. It was published in 2020, but it reads like something that was published in like 2014. Her main character's name is Leah. She embarks on a trip to Paris to meet her newest project. 25-year-old Jared Adler, leader of the Parisian mafia and the worst kind of sinner. A triple. A triple means that they have like a sinner score of like 100%. If Leah can get Jared to accomplish a single act of kindness, she stands to win 100 feathers, more than enough to complete her wings and ascend to Elysium, the land of angels. What she doesn't count on is Jared's dark charm costing her feathers. She's dead set on saving him and he's dead set on destroying her. It's overly descriptive, almost to a fault. We'll see if it starts to improve as I continue reading, but it's like, our main character is like, I went to take a shower, and it's like, okay, we know that she's gonna be like, clean, girl, I just took a shower, and it's like, my soap-scented skin and I walked out of the bathroom, and I'm like, why would you have to say that? I'm also not sure how I'm feeling about the setup of the world. We're already starting off from a very like moral high ground, and I don't know how I feel about that, because it was like, one of the stories that our main character told was, oh, like I helped an addict, you know, get clean and start to get her life into a better place because she lost her kids, she lost her house, like her life was really succumbing to her addiction. Everything has like shades of gray in my mind. Like some situations aren't super clear cut with like, this person is a sinner versus like this person is a saint and an angel. So I'm curious about how that's going to continue to evolve, because there's been moments when she's talking to her other, they call angels that are earning their wings fledglings. So she's talking to her other fledglings, and it's like, if they lie about literally anything at all, they lose a feather. If they feel one of the 7 deadly sins, so like, for example, one of her friends is like really jealous of something. Jealousy is like a normal emotion to feel, and like feeling jealous isn't a sin. Like that was very confusing to me. So I'm curious to see how it's going to continue. My hope is that once she gets to the mortal world and we start to see some engagement with her and this love interest, it's going to pick up a little bit for me. Besties, I owe y'all some reading updates. It is Tuesday. This morning I was just doing video editing and then I took some pictures and stuff for Instagram, so I haven't really read anything yet today, but yesterday I got up to 44% in Feather. I'm pretty much solely listening to the audiobook, even though this book is on Kindle. I've only been updating my Kindle chapters to see what percentage I am through the book, because Everend, as much as I love the access to so many audiobooks that I can't find on Libby, it's not great at telling you what percent of the way through the book you are. It tells you how much time you have left. So Feather, it did get better once our love interest Jared got introduced. However, it's just not my favorite. It's still very cringe and the characters aren't super believable. So Jared is this, obviously, like we talked about, a sinner, a bad boy. He is the leader of the Parisian mob, and we're finding out a lot about his background that makes him very unique, just like our main girly pop is a very unique angel. I'm listening to it with a quickness because I know that if I were to put this book down for a day or two, I probably wouldn't want to return to it. I think that the plot is interesting. Like, I am interested to see where it goes, but the characters are just not doing it for me. And so far their romance has been pretty slow going. There really hasn't been a romance. It's just Jared trying to provoke, I think I said her name wrong in the first clip. It's actually Lay. It's Jared trying to provoke Lay into doing like sinner type things, and she is annoyingly innocent. But I don't know, like this whole concept of the angels and her personality is very strange to me because she's an extremely empathetic, we'll call her person, who helps humans through really challenging and difficult situations. But then with other things, she just like can't, she seems so robotic in a lot of her stream of consciousness that we get because it's in first person through her point of view. You're getting her thoughts as they come about, and she seems so not human. Like, she just seems so weird in some scenarios. Like, she has zero understanding about what would even cause someone to want to be like Jared, like be a sinner, lead a mob, be a part of the mob, like do sin, and yet she's able to like coach humans through these difficult things to make them like not sinners anymore. There's just like a disconnect with her character, and I don't find it very believable. Hesitant to say that I would continue with the series at this point in time. And then I am 21% of the way through my new freaking obsession. Like, I thought that I loved Thea and Wilder in the first book, and I didn't know what I was missing. I'm so freaking upset at myself for waiting so long to read this book, because I am screaming at every sentence, every chapter, every page turn, every word. I'm hoping to make a lot more progress in this today. Yesterday I had a lot of things where I needed to listen to an audiobook. I just couldn't sit down and read, but I have been highlighting when I'm reading this book on my Kindle, and so what I would like to do right now actually is go back through and annotate this book. Their dialogue is, there's spicy scenes. There's been so much like angst and spice in this. I feel like a ball of love and affection for this book. They are stabby, they are knife to the throat, they're upset with each other, but they want to jump each other's bones, and the tension is incredible. But also like Thea, there's action going on in the background. Like, Thea has some very difficult decisions. She kind of has an ultimatum that she's facing in this book that we did not know about in the first book, and so I'm stressed for a girly pop. She's also just like such a badass. Like, I know that I've been screaming about Wilder because I love him and he's such a hottie McHotster that I would lick his forearms until he begged me to stop. Like, I can't with him. But Thea as well, like, is such a baddie queen. I love her. It's really funny because it switches between, it's dual POV, so it switches between Wilder chapters and Thea's chapters, and how Wilder is presenting himself to Thea, he's being such an asshole. Like, he's not being nice to her, and it's so funny because we get the insight into Wilder's thoughts and perspectives, and he's like, oh my gosh, she looks so beautiful, but like I have to be mean to her, and it makes you just gush over him. Whereas what Thea sees of Wilder right now, I do not blame her for being mad at this man. Like, he comes off as such an asshole. I freaking can't with this book. Anyways, I'm going to go through and annotate. I told y'all that 2024 is my annotation journey. I'm trying to not only annotate more books, but improve upon my annotation style. I'm also going to be listening to more of Feather because, like I said, I don't want to put it down for a day and risk falling out of it. You know what I mean? So hello friends, it is almost 10 o'clock and I haven't checked in for the day. Today is Wednesday, but I just finished listening to Feather, thankfully, because that book was, I don't just want to say like it's not for me. I don't usually call books like bad. I'll usually just say like this definitely wasn't for me because of X, Y, and Z and whatever. But like this book was not good. It was so cringy The characters, I thought they were getting better when like the romance got introduced, because I really did not like Lay. Like from the beginning, she was just so pick me, so like overly innocent. I didn't understand her character. Like I didn't think that she was believable at all. But then her love interest, Jared, was not any better. Like he was so fake bad boy and just like, I don't know. I'm trying to think if the audiobook was impacting that for me at all, because sometimes if I'm not liking a book, it's also like the way that the narrator is reading certain characters. And I think that the narrator definitely made Lay worse than what she probably would have been if I read her on my own, because of the intonations that she had when she was speaking. She made her seem very like whiny. Gross, just gross. Overall, not great. But then also the spice in this book was not good. They literally fell in love. I thought that it was over a longer period of time, but there's a point when our main character Lay is talking to one of her other angel friends, like her bestie Celeste, and she's like, but I love him and like I want to stay with him even though he's not an angel. And Celeste is like, you've known him for 5 days. And I was like walking JMO outside listening to that part, and I was like, Celeste, preach to this girl. Like try to talk some sense into her, because like what is even going on? She wanted to like do some crazy things to be able to stay with Jared in the mortal realm. I'm really torn about what to rate it, because I never give books 1 star. Like if a book is a 1 star for me, I'm just gonna DNF it. A 2 star is a book that I like stick with, but it definitely had like major issues for me, but like it wasn't enough for me to DNF it. This is a book that if it weren't realmathon, and if this book didn't have a white cover with an object on the cover and it was gonna get us like extra points for team time, I absolutely would have DNF'd it. I feel mean giving it a 1 star, but like honestly it's kind of a 1 star. I'm gonna sleep on it before I give like an actual rating for it, and I'm probably just not gonna write a review for it on Goodreads. There's that. We finished that book. Vows and Ruins, I have only read a little bit more. I'm like 30%, a little over 30% into the book. I think I'm on chapter 17. Still absolutely thoroughly enjoying this book. There just hasn't been a lot of time for me to sit down and read. And then I'm trying to figure out about Spark of the Everflame, because I don't want to, I probably won't start Spark of the Everflame until I finish this one, just so that these two have my full attention. You know what I mean? I don't think Spark of the Everflame has an audiobook, or if it does, it's not on Everend and it's not on Libby, so I probably won't buy it. Hi besties, quick check-in. Also, happy Thursday. So I did hit my goal of 50% last night in this book, and I've read a little bit more today. I'm now at 65% and I'm absolutely eating this up. It really feels like this is the romance book of the series. The first book, we obviously got so much world building, so much character development. I loved watching Thea go through her like training and create really cute friendships. That was all in book 1, and obviously we did get a little bit of spice. We got a little bit of romance in the first book, but not nearly as significant of an amount as we are in Vows and Ruins. So spicy, like 10 out of 10 spicy peppers. I am drooling over every single chapter, every single word. Wilder is in fine form in this book. I feel like the third book is going to transition much more back into focusing on the plot and getting a lot of conclusions. I don't know if it's the final book in the series. I have to check actually. Oh, it says the penultimate book. So Fate and Furies will be the second to last book. That's so interesting. Yes, I have that book coming later today. However, I think that after we finish this beautiful girl, I'm going to start to read Spark of the Everflame like we talked about. I will try to control my mood reading urges. I did actually start a new audiobook today. I found this book that's called Everless by Sarah Holland. This book came out in 2018, so like it is so random. I don't think I ever would have picked up this book, but it has time magic and it's YA, and it has a kind of interesting premise. I've never heard anyone talk about this book. I think it's a duology because there's Everless as the first book and then Evermore. All I know so far is that our main character's name is Jules. It's YA, so I think she said she's 17, And she lives in, it's kind of giving like dystopian vibes, but she lives in the kingdom of Sempera, where time is currency and it's extracted from blood, bound to iron, and then consumed to add time to one's own lifespan. So it's really interesting. It's like blood magic mixed with time magic. The king and queen of this society they like tax their people who pay in their own blood and their own time off of their own lives. Crazy. So the king and queen are almost immortal because they're like living off of other people's time. It's quite interesting in terms of like a magic system. So I'm only 8% of the way into that audiobook. I haven't gotten far, but it's kind of juicy. I'll keep y'all updated. Couple days since I've last checked in. I have been reading. I think my last check-in was on Friday, and then I didn't really check in Saturday, and today's Sunday. I have been reading. Saturday I did take the day off of reading because my brain just couldn't do it anymore, but I finished Vows and Ruins. I gave it 5 stars. I don't think the plot was perfect in that book. I loved that it was like Wilder's book. Like, he just was the main character, even though it switched between dual POV. But like, even in Thea's chapters, he was the plot. He was the moment. Incredible. I gave it 5 stars because of my enjoyment level. Like, obviously I was just screaming about the book the entire time, but realistically, if I wanted to analyze like where the plot fell for me, where Thea fell for me, things outside of Wilder Hawthorne, it was probably like a 4-star. The things I wish that we got more of in the book were, you know, how do I say this without spoiling anything? There's magic that's coming about in the book, and I wish that we got a little bit more of the training of the magic. I'm excited for the 3rd book. What I really am loving about this series as a whole is that, you know, in the 1st book, Thea and Wilder are very like hate to love. I hesitate to call them like enemies because they're really not like enemies, but they definitely don't like each other, and then they start to like each other. So in the 1st book, it was hate to love. In the 2nd book, it was also hate to love because they went back to being like really mad at each other in the beginning, and they kind of like bicker and fight throughout the book, which keeps it so tensiony and fun. And I can't wait. I can't believe that there's 4 books in this series. That has me so excited for the 4th book. So loved that whole experience. I ended up finishing Everless. I actually just finished it. I wanted to have another book to finish in this vlog. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I know I told you about the time magic, so just in case I didn't mention the summary, our main character is Jules Ember. Her and her father were once servants at Everless, which is like the palace in their universe of Sempera. But they were cast out after a fateful accident a decade ago. Now, Jules's father is reaching his last hour, and she will do anything to save him. Desperate to earn time, she arrives at the palace as it prepares for a royal wedding, ready to begin her search into childhood secrets that she once believed to be no more than myths. As she uncovers lost truths, Jules spirals. Oh my god, that was so many S's. Jules spirals deeper into a past she hardly recognizes and faces an ancient and dangerous foe who threatens her future and the future of time itself. This book, I know that it came out in 2018, so I don't want to say like, I'm surprised that no one's talking about it, but I'm surprised that I've never heard of it. The things that I really enjoyed about it is that time magic can usually be quite complicated and sometimes just overly convoluted. I've tried to read another series that had time magic and it just made my brain hurt. This being a YA fantasy, I feel like right off the bat, it's probably going to be a bit easier to understand, and so love that. I was totally here for it because I wanted to mostly listen to this book on audio. Was able to follow along, my brain didn't hurt, I was able to keep track of everything. That's sometimes difficult for me with fantasy books, even YA fantasy books. Not only was the time magic so interesting, but I felt like Jules's character was really believable. How she interacted with the other characters, they were definitely extremely side characters. Like, you do not get attached to, at least for me, any of the other side characters. They are fully just support characters on her journey. I'm definitely going to read the second book. I was supposed to start Spark of the Everflame in this reading vlog, and I definitely did not do that. So I did finish 3 books, Feather, Vows and Ruins, and Everless. I will absolutely include Spark of the Everflame in an upcoming vlog because I'm so excited to read that book, and I know I'm gonna scream and cry about it. For my realmathon friends who are looking for a little hinty poo about what is going on, my hint is that Team Time has been getting attacked the most by Team Shadows. So do with that information what you will. I hope that you enjoyed, friends. If you did, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you in the comments. If you've made it this far, leave a little heart emoji, whatever color you would like. I will catch you in the comments. I will see you in my next one. Toodles!